The last of a dying breed. This could be it. This looks like it's going to be the final traditional Rose Bowl. We got Big Ten, we've got Pac-12, and man, this is going to be a doozy. If we're going to go out with these two conferences going at it, no better way than to go at it in a big-time barn burner between the Utes and the Nittany Lions. Great time to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Big Ten football content every single day. Always mash that like button to spread the word of Big Ten Ted to the masses. For many, many years before I was born, Big Ten champion versus Pac-10 champion in the Rose Bowl. It was a New Year's Day staple. When the BCS came to be, every few years, the Rose Bowl was 1 versus 2, the national championship game. When the college football playoff came to be, then it was every 3 years. The Rose Bowl has been a college football playoff semifinal. So next season, the Rose Bowl will be just that, a college football playoff semifinal, so it could be anybody, right? Teams 1 and 4, 2 and 3. And then the year after that, in 2024, the expanded 12-team college football playoff. So when you look at the tradition, when you look at the pageantry of this game, Big Ten and Pac-10/Pac-12, this could be the final traditional matchup between these two historic conferences. As man, we're going to go out with a bang because this Penn State and Utah game could be a classic. Because you look at what Utah wants to do. You look at how Utah can score points and move the football up and down the field. Penn State has some holes on their defense where maybe, just maybe, we could see the Utes move the football. Joey Porter Jr. opting out of this bowl game to prepare for the 2023 NFL Draft. So you got to think Utah is going to exploit that weakness. So guys are going to have to step up in the secondary. Kalen King, he's been there all season long, opposite of Joey Porter Jr. Can he step up and defend some of the top targets of the Utah Utes? And then you look at Johnny Dixon as well, as probably going to be on the other side. Of course, you still got Jair Brown, who's going to be there at safety. But in terms of corners, in terms of man-to-man matchup, if you watch that game against USC, you know that they're going to have to play a good game in order to try to contain this Utah offense. Now, as long as we're talking about this Utes offense, we talked about one guy that's out for Penn State. A big loss for this Utah offense is Dalton Kincaid, their leading receiver and starting tight end. 890 yards, 8 touchdowns receiving on this team. So just like guys are going to have to step up in the absence of Joey Porter Jr., guys are also going to have to step up for Utah in the absence of Dalton Kincaid. When I look at the receiver positions, I look at Devon Vele, I look at Money Parks. Man, what a name. And Money Parks had a big play in that Pac-12 Championship game against USC. He's a guy with speed that can get to the end zone from 50-plus yards out. And Cam Rising, he's been there. He's done that. He's played in big games. Had a great performance in the Rose Bowl a year ago. Had a great performance in the Pac-12 Championship game to knock USC out of the college football playoffs. So you know the Utah Utes can do this thing. You know the Utah Utes can move the football. When I look at Utah, and I've watched them a couple of times this season, but most recently in that Pac-12 championship game, I look at them and what kind of culture that Kyle Whittingham has built at Utah. They're a Big Ten team playing out west, right? They're tough and physical in the lines. They're tough and physical up front. They can run the ball, but they can also be explosive in the passing game. What they would be, man, they would fit picture perfect into a Big Ten style of play with that quarterback, with that running game, with that defense. Everything that Utah has kind of reminds me of our beloved B1G. So what does Penn State have to do to try to combat what we know that Utah can do? Well, this is your final show for Sean Clifford. And Sean Clifford has to protect the football. He's done a pretty good job of that this season, and a good way to help out Sean Clifford a little bit to prevent him from turning the football over is, man, get the ball going on the ground. Katron Allen and Nick Singleton. Look, I get it. A lot of people might not have seen Penn State football, right? You get the Rose Bowl, a game, maybe a lot of casuals that tune into this type of game. A lot of people that maybe haven't been watching college football all season flip on the Rose Bowl because that's what people do on New Year's Day. If you haven't seen Penn State before, this could be a real breakout performance on the national stage for Katron Allen and Nick Singleton, where it's really going to catch a lot of eyeballs from sea to shining sea. Inside the Big Ten, Ted universe, we know these guys are the real deal. But maybe people outside just don't know that yet, and this is a perfect opportunity. Get it going on the ground. I've been saying it for a few years now. When Penn State runs the football, that opens up their entire offense. And, the more time that kind of goes by, the more I kind of think Katron Allen and Nick Singleton are the best players on this Penn State offense. Look, and when you get going running the football, you open up that play action offense. And although, without Parker Washington, some guys are going to have to step up. Mitchell Tinsley is going to have to be a main target. I know he can be a deep threat for this Penn State offense. And then how about Keandre Lambert-Smith? He's taken maybe not a huge, but a little bit of a back seat, to guys like Parker Washington and Mitchell Tinsley, tight ends, which I'll get into in a minute. But he's going to be expected to be one of the main guys next season. So he's got to step up and show the Penn State coaching staff that he can be that guy in this Penn State offense. But man, utilize those tight ends. Brenton Strange, and you got a good one in sophomore Theo Johnson, who has really stepped up at the end of this season. Look, they don't have their tight end. It's time for you to use yours. And I could see some matchup problems, especially with the height of Theo Johnson against some of these players in the Utah linebackers and secondary. I could really see these tight ends having a big day, right? Play action, hit those tight ends, hit some deep shots down the field. Be methodical. Look, I don't think this Penn State is a big strike offense. I don't know if they're necessarily as explosive as Utah is on the other side of the field. I know they can put up points on the board, but I think they want to be a little bit more methodical in their approach right now. I think they want to run the ball with Katron Allen and Nick Singleton, maybe dump it off to their tight ends, keep moving the chains, try to keep the ball out of the hands of Cam Rising and that Utah offense. Man, this is going to be a doozy. Out of all the bowl games, probably outside of the playoff, who knows, maybe including the playoff, this game, which is going to be the end of a very, very, very long college football era, it's got the potential to be an instant classic. Who do you think is taking this one home? Is it going to be the Nittany Lions or is it going to be the Utes? Leave your thoughts and predictions in the comments below. Subscribe to Big Ten Ted if you haven't already. I'm Big Ten Ted, and we will see you in the next one.